Morbius was rubbish. It was confusing. Yo, 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 yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
It's me and the other guy. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I'm the other guy.
Yeah, you are the other guy. You're barely the other guy.
Davey LP.
It's just a Davey P on your thing. But so yeah, we're going to review the absolute mess that was Morbius. We saw Morbius yesterday. The more I think about it, the worse it gets, I have to say.
But viewer discretion, we won't be giving away any.
Yeah, we will be. We will be.
Will we?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go.
I'll put spoilers.
I've been overruled.
Yeah. Don't start making decisions like above your station.
My apologies. The Duke has spoken. So yes.
Yeah. Don't do that. Okay.
Okay. So where do we begin?
Well, I'll tell you what. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5 seconds for you, Sin Bin.
Okay, I learned my lesson.
Cool. So do you know where I'm going to begin? I'm going to begin right at the end. I'm going to go straight to the after scene credits. So the movie ends as it does with a kind of. The movie is watchable. It's not an absolute horror show, but.
Wait, sorry. Let me interject for a sec. Before we do that, at least tell them what your rating is for the movie so they know. Because you're already saying it.
I've changed it. It's 2 out of 5.
Okay, so it's about 4 out of 10 then.
Yeah. Good maths. What's yours?
I'm gonna be generous because it's near the holidays. So I'll say 5. 5 out of 10. Okay, so I'm just gonna go straight to the end credits. So the movie ends and we have the 2 post-credit scenes. They kind of put them quite close together, so we sat through the end credits to the end for no reason, which was annoying. But yeah, so essentially what you see in the first end credit is Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, appear in a prison cell in Morbius's universe, which is also the Venomverse we've established. Yeah. How does he appear? Well, according to Daniel Espinosa, the director, I think that's his name. Let me just double check. Yeah, Daniel Espinosa. He reckons this is because of multiversal rules, because people who knew Spider-Man could come into the MCU. That meaning it works in the opposite way. I've seen Spider-Man No Way Home. Those are not the rules which Doctor Strange has established in the movie. Can I interject? No, I'm in a rant. Be quiet. Now, okay. What the hell is he talking about? That's what I want to know. What the hell is he? Put your hand down, for God's sake. Behave yourself. What the hell is he talking about? Like, those were not the rules established in Doctor Strange. In Spider-Man No Way Home. Those were no way, in any way, shape, or form, the rules established. So he's literally just made this up to cover a glaring plot hole from the last scene. Secondly, sorry, I don't let you come in. Secondly, the trailers for Morbius had Vulture all over them. So they've kind of misled the public as well by not having the Vulture in the main part of the movie, which is quite misleading to only have him in at the end. So I don't know what Sony are playing at. This is quite bad by Sony to, number one, mislead the audience to this degree, but to also to treat their fan base like this and to totally ruin the multiversal rules which have been established by Kevin Feige in the MCU. Go.
Yeah, the end credit. Since you start there, we'll start from there and work our way back. The end credit scene was an absolute letdown. It was an absolute letdown. Man. I was thinking like, what's the relevance of this? I mean, with everything else in all the, if we want to go by the MCU end credit rules, it always has a significance. And it's something that's leading to something else, i.e., a character coming in who we know that they're going to be in their next movie maybe coming out. Like, for instance, the first one I remember that comes to mind is when we saw Thor's hammer, but they thought it was a meteor and turns out to be Thor's hammer. Next thing, introduce Thor's movie, gets his debut movie in the MCU. That was just so anticlimactic, having the Vulture appears and he appears in prison, and then that was just random. It's like, oh, this place is different, and then they meet him there. But again, it makes no sense. Is he from a parallel Earth?
No, he's from our MCU.
Right. So if he's from our
MCU, our MCU, not like we're living in the MCU, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Then I'm just thinking about this right now as we're actually speaking. Why would he be guilty of anything, considering he wouldn't be, because he's not from that?
It makes zero sense. So this guy just turns up in a prison. They don't know where he's from, so they're going to discuss whether he deserves to be released or not, even though they
they don't know what crimes he's committed.
Yeah.
Or unless they've all got like a TV that they've been watching all the crimes he's committed throughout his life while he was in the MCU, and they said, you know what? Even though in this world, in this country, you've got statute of limitation, you also have certain extradition laws where you can't be extradited to a country for a crime that you didn't commit. So he didn't commit the crime in this America. He committed it in a different America.
Yeah, extradition laws aren't multi-universal, as far as I'm aware.
Well, maybe for Sony is. It was just badly. It was, love the color now. It was just a mess. And then the second end credit scene, which came like a few seconds later, you just see a car driving, you see someone stepping out, and I'm getting excited because I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be like someone new, like a character that, someone that you probably be like, oh my God, I'd love to see that. I'm thinking maybe someone like Craven the Hunter, or, to be fair, I was thinking at some point, oh my God, we might get to see, since they're just making stuff up, even though Manny was not having it, the Duke was not having it, but I was like, well, we might get to see Blade or something.
God.
Yeah, no, I was just saying. See, I'm going by his rule. Hey, I'm not Sony. Don't blame me. I'm just saying.
You may as well be.
Since they're just making stuff up, I'm just thinking, oh, well, maybe we'll get to see Blade. And my reason for thinking that is going back to when Morbius's colleague / love interest, who just became his love interest randomly, she basically was transforming into a vampire. So I'm thinking, oh, since they're now introducing vampires, as in vampires on screen, maybe we might get like a little taste of like Blade coming in, something like what happened in Spider-Man, where we saw Venom came in and then basically he didn't belong there, so he went back to where he belonged. I thought, oh, this is somewhere like that they're going, but it just turns out just to be an added little introduction and / dialogue between Morbius and the Vulture. And you just think like, okay, and he's like, oh, I've got so much to tell you. And then again, you're just thinking, well, what's the relevance of you telling him? It's not like you guys are going across.
Mate, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. He walks up to him and says something about Spider-Man. We haven't even established who the Spider-Man in this universe is yet. Is it Andrew Garfield? Is it Miles Morales? Not even established who Spider-Man is yet. He just assumes that Morbius knows who Spider-Man is and says, oh, do you fancy doing some good? Let's team up. And Morbius is like, I've just met you, but this is very intriguing. Like, if you're Michael Morbius, you're going to be like, who the hell are you? Get away from me. with your weird ass.
Well, you know what, Manny?
Like, what the hell? This is ridiculous.
Not, yeah, true. But then it's not so unbelievable considering what Morbius said. Remember what we looked at each other and said, did he just say that? If he was able to say that name without having any encounter or even knowing who that person is,
he said Venom. I'm like, who done that? Which again, a scene that made zero sense.
Yeah, he said Venom, and we literally both of us looked at each other. And
said, doesn't make sense earlier. It doesn't make the thing that made not make sense later on make sense. Two negatives don't make a right.
Well, in their mind, since he can randomly conjure up Venom in his head without having no interaction of who Venom is, then he can just randomly start making up other stuff. Like,
it would work so much better if the guy who they were stealing the lab from, Morbius was stealing the lab from, if he'd said to him, "Are you like that Venom guy?" That would have made so much more sense.
Yeah, but it was.
But for him to say, "Oh, who are you?" and Morbius replies, "Venom," like, what? Why would you reply that?
Yeah,
it's silly. It's ridiculous. This is. I can see why 5G wants nothing to do with like other producers. My team did not lose today. My team got a credible 2-2 draw against City. It's on. It's on. Who's going to hold their nerve in the last 7 games of the season? That's what it's all going to come down to.
Yeah, no, but you know what, Mr. Cato, the Duke is right, man. You know, normally I'm like, you know, I'm the supporter of the villainy type thing, but this kind of villainy and butchering the whole concept of what they're trying to achieve and establish, the certain rules that's been established in the MCU in terms of how things work, it's like Sony has just made up just said, you know what? Well, we ain't put the effort or the time in to make up our own things that will make sense. So you know what? We're just gonna just counter yours and just use what you're saying and just make it work randomly for hours, which has nothing to do with what we're actually doing.
So Mr. Cato said to me earlier today, we met up to watch the football. He said to me that originally Sony was taking out all of the original references to No Way Home and the multiverse. But then they put it back in, and that's the reason why Michael Keaton's all over the place. You know, why it just doesn't make any sense. They haven't thought about the creative side of it. They've just thought about, oh, we're just going to try and profit off this multiverse stuff. And they haven't followed any of the rules. All they thought about it is it's like a WWE style of storytelling. It doesn't have to make sense as long as it just happens.
Yeah, see, and now you're saying that. Now I'm starting to think differently now. I'm just thinking, one of my biggest fears, I don't want this to then sabotage opportunities and potential of stories for characters that's now going to be in the Sony verse. Because if Andrew does end up over there, based on how they've like done this, but then again, to be fair, I think based on how well he was received in No Way Home, well, not if, when they do really, do make a Spider-Man 3 for him, his one is the Amazing Spider-Man, wasn't it? Yeah. When they do make a Spider-Man 3, I think he will still get people turning out for it. The problem is they might put themselves in a situation where they will only really have one character that people are really going to have interest in, because the stories and everything else. I mean, for God's sake, they done a reshoot for this after the release of Spider-Man No Way Home. So if they made a reshoot of certain scenes in this and it still turned out this bad, then how bad was the original?
But I don't think it was just, from what I just said previously, I don't think maybe it wasn't that bad, but they've just reneged on what the original story was, and they gone in No Way Home when they didn't want to. They're just it feels like they're only thinking about what they feel is most commercially successful. But
what people will gravitate to.
Because Kevin Feige has written a nice coherent storyline which is stretched through 30 plus movies. That's what people invested in because it's coherent.
But that's the thing.
I do not trust Sony at all. And I was talking to Mr. Cater earlier, and he said, and I'm inclined to agree with him, what Sony have done here is worse than anything DC have done with their content.
True.
It just makes me more and more angry the more I think about it.
Well, like I said to you last night after we watched it, I said to you, well, hopefully going forward when they make a part 2, they will take on board what people have said, listen, and...
You think they will?
Well...
exactly.
Well, you know what? I think money talks, and I think if they do listen, much like Marvel did for the MCU in terms of when they were casting certain actors to play the part, like when people was like, yeah, Chadwick Boseman for T'Challa, and they did. And I think also the casting was a big part of also the success of the film, as well as obviously the story, everything else was great. But if you don't have the right people in the right parts, then that also damaged the brand. And I think he was so well received, when he came through, that it made it even more of a success. So people went out and watched it.
You've got to remember what studios are like, though.
But the reason why I'm saying that, Manny, I'm just saying that for the simple fact that if they look, they're about money.
You're presenting a utopian kind of scenario.
No, I'm saying the fact is they're about money. It's not even utopian. It's the fact that they're about money. So if you're about money and you want to maximize your profit and what you can actually get from your franchise, then you need to listen. If people are saying, "Nah, we don't like how you portray that character," you have to listen, because we're the people who's going to be spending money to go and watch it. So if you don't listen, and then when you make a next movie, no one go out and see it, you go spend 300-400 million on a movie to try and compete with the MCU movies. When you spend 300-400 million, you're going to need at least a 2 billion profit to actually get yourself back on board. So if you don't do that, you're in problems.
If only that were true. Because the facts are, Sony will make money regardless. They can put out as long as they plant Spider-Man on any movie they put out, that movie is going to go out and get coin. Why do you think we've had so many variations of Batman and Superman over the past 5-10 years? Because those studios know the quality isn't even that important. As long as they put Batman or Superman in the title of those movies, they're going to sell out like geeks. They're loyal. They love their content. They know it's going to sell out. So for Sony, the creative side of it isn't that important because
they're a brand.
They know we'll spend the money. Well, I won't, because after this, the Sony verse is the Sony verse isn't going to get any more money from me in a cinema way after this.
I will go see the Spider-Man 3 just for Andy Garfield, because I enjoyed his Spider-Man.
Exactly, and look at Sony's track record. They provided no evidence that they're going to do anything better, or they're going to follow proper creative. Oh God, we just had Jesus Christ. The comments. We need somebody. I need the moderator. Oh Jesus! Can you see what's going on in the comments?
Yeah.
I just need to block this person.
Yeah, I did it.
Thank you. Good one, Davian.
Yeah. So anyway, back to our regular topic.
That actually threw me off. God, I hate bots.
That's probably someone from Sony. You're talking smack about what we just did.
There's probably Daniel Espinosa.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. How you like these? How you like me now?
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, now going back into the movie, because I mean, we're not gonna get anywhere in terms of discussing what Sony will do, because I mean, as you rightly put it, Sony's gonna do what Sony's gonna do, regardless of what people say or what what the opinions are. Because as long as people still go out and buy the product, they'll still just keep doing what they're doing. Now, going back to the movie.
Oh, do we have to talk about the movie?
Yeah, unfortunately, we do. I mean,
you start.
It had potential. It had potential. I think where they went wrong, besides the story going all over the place and everything else, I think they rushed Morbius's story in terms of his abilities and how he starts to master his abilities. I mean, with everything, it usually takes time. You look at a great franchise we have to go to, like even The Matrix. In The Matrix, Neo didn't learn all of his powers in the first movie. This dude Morbius learned everything within the first 45 minutes of getting his powers. He starts learning how to, the whole bat sonar thing to like pinpoint location and find where certain people, and you're just like, okay. In that same space of time, his body went from accepting the what's it called? The bloods that was like the donated bloods, to then start rejecting it. And no one genetic structure is that complicated where within minutes, like a day or two, it's going to start like rejecting certain things or whatever. It's going to take longer than that. So it was just like they were literally like rushing everything in such a short space of time. And even the whole friends to enemy thing between him and his friend Milo, it was just random. This is your childhood friend. You're both dying. You got a cure that you tested on yourself. It's now giving you enhanced abilities with the side effect of you wanting to eat everyone you see. And you're going to be like, you know what? No, I'm a monster. I need to stop myself. I won't kill people. But then you already did. You literally, he killed one person when he got his ability. You killed 8.
Yeah. Initially, Daddy suggests we carry on talking about the bots. I'd love to, but the title says Morbius.
Yeah.
Morbius.
I mean, some of the pros I'll take.
You click on the link? If so, let us know.
Some of the pros I'll take from it is the fact that I love the way he was the way he was dodging like the bullets. I thought that was actually really cool the way they done that. Obviously since Matrix and all those movies, technology has gone a lot more advanced, so they were able to make it seemed a lot more cooler, and it was actually nice. But apart from that, everything else was just like it was a bit absurd. You got regular police, regular police that was just that's Sony. I'm telling you that for a fact.
Sony is attacking us right now with bots.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can.
Yeah, Sony's sending some things that will probably get us cancelled if it was really a person sending it. Sony is not going to change what we think of the movie. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm not saying it's the worst movie ever.
Sony's a 10 out of 10. Just stop sending
it. It was just, I give it a 5. I'm not changing my mark. It's a 5 out of 10. It's a generous 5 out of 10. And because I also love Jared Leto. I thought he was really cool. He had that really cool looking. He looked believable. But I think, again, it's one of those situations where he was let down by the script.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he was let down by the script, not by his performance. He was just let down by.
I thought Matt Smith was really good. Matt Smith, the actor who played
Milo. Milo. Yeah, he was absolutely great as well. And again, let down by the script.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see him. I mean, it didn't take a genius to figure that he took the serum when he was leaving the lab, because he came in and he looked at it. Now, for something that Morbius is Dr. Morbius, who's turned down a Nobel Prize, who was so smart, he wouldn't leave something like that just out there like that, just like any Tom, Dick, or Harry could just walk in the lab and just take it up and just walk out with it or whatever. There's no way he would have left that there just like that. So again, it was just very, very flawed. And again, when he got found out by Detective Tyrese, because I don't know what Tyrese's name was in there, but
sorry,
when he was found out by him or whatever, here's a doctor who's a genius.
Stroud, Officer Stroud, Agent Stroud. Sorry,
he's a genius. He's on a ship doing some unethical science experiments. They have to be flying other country's flag on the ship, so it doesn't seem like it's an American vessel. So it's on international water.
This is proper legal stuff they're doing.
Yeah, and you're telling me you're doing all of that, which is dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's in that aspect, and you're gonna do the most random thing to let yourself get caught out that you are on there. You're going to make your little origami figurine things that you normally make, which is your trademark as Dr. Morbius. You're going to make that on a ship that you're going on when you're close to death. You've still got enough time while you're close to death to actually, make one of them and just leave it on the floor. And out of everything on that big ship, the two detectives that's on there, Detective Stroud has got the most pinpoint accuracy to find that.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Put it together. He found that, and he just came with 2 and 2, and like, yeah, you know what? I found this.
There were a lot of reaches.
It's Dr. Morbius that did this. Yeah, definitely. I need to speak to him or whatever.
Yeah, there were a lot of reaches in this movie. Another thing which I have an issue with as well. Oh God, I have plenty of issues with this movie. They kind of set this this tone that
touch on that.
Because Morbius killed mercenaries, that's kind of forgivable and we can get away with that. But because Milo killed doctors and police,
police officers,
they're kind of implying that some life is more important than other life. And don't get me wrong. If I had to choose, obviously I'd rather the mercenaries get it, but to start making almost moral judgments as a tone of the movie based on that, they've all killed people. Yeah. Granted, Morbius wants to stop killing people. I found that quite a dangerous moral tone to set in the movie.
Yeah, but Morbius was a hypocrite too, because
exactly.
He was saying, no, I'm never, yes, I have to find a cure, I'm going to end it, because I will never take a life. I'll never drink anyone's blood. And then his love interest, who got her neck skewered, she was like, don't let it go to waste. And he drink her blood. I just think okay, why? It made no sense. Like, for instance, you're comparing it to Blade, and Blade's stance on not drinking blood and, being the Daywalker. Now, you go back as far as Blade 1. When Blade was in that situation, what happened? Blade fell into... No, that was Blade 2. Yeah, in Blade 2, when Blade was actually fighting against those mutated vampires or whatever, and they were trying to, dissect him and do all kinds of crap to him. What happened? Blade fell into the pool of blood that they had there, that they, literally it's like their supply for food. And he drank it based on the fact that he was at death's door and he needed to stop them to save the world. There was no such issue happening with Morbius's love interest for him to actually do that. Best dude just said, I'm hungry and I'm going to do it anyway, rather than just pretend when she's telling him, make it, don't let it go to waste. You use it for good. Use it for good to do what?
Yeah. So
I don't know what. Yeah.
Yeah. So another issue I found as well is it's not a huge issue, but
Gerard Harris is one of the best actors of the modern day. And I don't know, to give him such a bit part when you could save him for something so much larger further down the line, I thought it was a bit of a waste of acting potential, personally.
Yeah, yeah, but
you know, to have him just relegated as the I don't know what he was, some kind of adopted daddy for Emil.
Yeah, adopted daddy, doctor.
And Morbius. I mean, this guy's amazing. He's like one of the best actors. Yeah, easily.
Yeah, always remember him. From the first thing I remember really watching him in he was in Fringe. He was like one of the main characters in Fringe, a series, and he was absolutely amazing in there.
Have you seen him in Chernobyl?
Yeah.
I mean,
that was absolutely amazing. That was 5 parts. Yeah, I watched it on there. Yeah,
that is his masterclass. That is his tour de force.
Yeah,
and you know, when you got an actor like that, I say personally, save him for a bigger role. Maybe he just wanted a quick payday. Maybe we don't know, and he just wanted a bit part role. But
maybe they all did.
If you can get an actor like that, like bloody hell, like build something around him. I nearly swore there. Another issue I had with the movie was this.
Another one?
Was this uneasy romance between Michael Morbius and Martine Bancroft? It all seemed very sudden, them suddenly developing feelings for her. And I didn't quite like that. It kind of felt like Martine wasn't interested when he had the blood disorder. But man, as soon as that blood disorder was sorted out, Martin was all over that.
Yeah, once he was able to walk without crutches.
Yeah.
And all of that there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I also, he does not age in the movie, correct? The dad, you mean? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. He doesn't, yeah, like he looks exactly the same in the opening scene as he does like 20, 30 years later. Maybe he had vampire blood as well. Like maybe like we haven't quite like cottoned onto this yet. But yeah, I mean, and ultimately as well, the movie, I found it very difficult to attach myself to any of the characters. I didn't like any of the characters in the movie. In anything I watched, there's got to be one character who I kind of lay my hat on and be like,
yeah, exactly, yeah, 100%. But there was none of that.
Yeah, there wasn't one person. Morbius was just annoying. Like, if Morbius really cared, he probably should have topped himself.
But you know what never made no sense either? He drank one little bag of blood, and then he just got back the strength of 1,000 men. He was able to break through that door easily. Yet still, he was still at the time, remember, he was still able-bodied walking around, which means he should still have his strength. He only loses his abilities once he goes back to where he needs the crutches to walk. At no point while he was in custody did he need the crutches, yet still he wasn't able to break them handcuffs. But as soon as he got the little one bag of blood, the little pint of blood there, he started smashing through walls and flying all over the place, sonaring all sorts of madness or whatever.
Yes, my final thoughts, because I've got nothing else. Let me just check my notes. Yeah, I've got
notes for it.
Huh?
You made notes for it?
Yeah, I always make notes before a stream.
Didn't think you made one for this one. To be fair.
No, I'm a professional. This is the difference between me, Kevin Feige, and you, Sony, whatever you are.
Davey LP, guess who I am.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so my final thoughts are, I think you're right. This movie did have potential to actually be a decent movie.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it. Like I remember when we first heard about it about over a year ago. It was like, oh my god, that looks like it's gonna be great. Looking forward to that, and then they just ruin it. I mean, just like they did.
I wasn't anywhere near as excited as you were. I mean, what we've got to remember as well is the Venom movies are very average movies, which are only made good by the acting performance of Tom Hardy.
Yeah, but at least the Venom script wasn't super bad compared to this.
Yeah, but it's still an average script. It's not like a mind-blowing script, but Tom Hardy takes it to another level.
Yeah. And again, like we were talking about, we're saying villains. At least in there was like a main villain that you could say, okay, yeah, it's all a lot of different symbiotes, so it makes sense. But in this, it made absolutely no sense. It's not like when he took the serum, like even explained to say, oh, you know what? My personality slightly changed. I'm more aggressive. I'm more prone to being short fused and, you know, unable to control my anger towards friends, blah, blah, blah. There was none of that, which made no sense why his friend and him would like literally want to turn against each other.
100%. So yeah.
In such a short space of time.
Yeah. I personally, moving on, I have very grave concerns for the Sony verse moving forward. I think maybe in the box office it'll do well, but from a creative standpoint and for us proper geeks who really care about the source material, I think it's gonna let us down immensely moving forward. And Kevin Feige should wash his hands of this Sonyverse to as much as he can. And one last thing, nothing against Andrew Garfield, but I hope it's Andrew Garfield who is the Spider-Man for this universe, because I don't want them to ruin Miles Morales on his first appearance in live action on the big screen. That would be criminal, and that would upset me immensely if they rule. Because if you ruin it first time, it's just, I mean, Miles Morales is a new Spider-Man. He's only been around for like 10, 15 years or something. He's not got like the 60-year backstory Peter Parker has. Not everyone is familiar with Miles Morales as Spider-Man, so they've got to make him good on the first occasion.
Yeah, I was only familiar with him when I went to actually watch his animated movie at the cinema. That was like, if I'm not mistaken, that was 2019. That was just before the pandemic when that came out, and it was absolutely great.
Yeah.
So
we should start to petition Sony that they don't go anywhere near Miles Morales and ruin him. Or if they do, let me write the story.
Sounds good. I know you'll do it justice anyway because you actually know your stuff.
So, Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's it. I think we spent too much time already on this. You know, we're gonna do another little review now. Actually, we're gonna speak about
a little short review. Davian went and saw the Batman.
Yes, the Batman, and funnily enough, you actually saw the Batman as well, and that was not on your list.
Fan, Dowdy, Mr. Cato, he had to really twist my arm,
but
to go and see it with him.
Was it worth it?
100%, it was worth it. 100%.
Okay, then. So see, things can change because you know the Duke has always been a Marvel head. He's not really interested in DC.
And I have a particular problem with Batman as well.
Yeah.
I very rarely see Batman as a good guy.
Yeah, Batman has got anger issues. That's a fact. He's got serious anger issues. He's a bit of a sociopath.
Is this Batman, if they carry on making movies with Mr. Patterson as Batman, has this got the potential to be better than the Christian Bale movies? I'm going to say yes, it has.
100%, 100%. Because for one, it's been out now over a month. I think it's been out way over a month, and I'd not once gone to watch it because I was in two minds. I was like, again, you're judging, and we spoke about this when we speak about Moon Knight, because we're saying,
well, you are.
Yeah, in terms of the actor, he doesn't look like the traditional.
I didn't think that you did.
Actor to say, he could play, a badass character. He doesn't. There's some people who you look at them and you're like, nah, he can't.
I never thought this once. It's just Davian, but carry on.
Yeah, come on now. You remember, for those who can remember, who's old enough to remember, like Pee Wee Herman. You can't exactly see the actor who's playing Pee Wee Herman playing Thanos.
Pee Wee Herman to Oscar Isaac.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm saying in terms of when you look at an actor, you're saying, he couldn't really play certain things. You can't see Pee Wee Herman being Thanos. It just doesn't have that look about him.
What the hell are you talking about? Just move on to your next point. Just move on to your next point.
I know you was at the pub, so yeah, just pay attention.
Just move on.
As Mr. Lawson used to say in French class, écoutez, listen. That's French. I said he doesn't have the look where you could say, yep, he could pull that off. He doesn't have that look, but he done it. So going back to what my point was,
what are you talking about? Even the comments are saying.
My point was,
what are you talking about?
My point was, yes, Robert Pattinson. I had doubts about him and his portrayal of Batman. I'm like, where they're gonna go with it. And then reading the backstory to say that it's not from this Earth, it's like a parallel Earth type of thing. And I was just like, oh my God, you've got so many. You've just had the Christian Bale Batman back literally just over 10 years ago. Then you've got Ben Affleck Batman. Then you've got the ones that they've got going on in Arkham or Gotham City, I should say, sorry. And I'm like, there's just too many variations or whatever. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. But then after you watched it and you came back and you said, it was really, really good. I said, oh my God, I need to definitely go and see it. And I finally went and I watched it last night. And it was absolutely amazing. So many things they did in that, which actually, I think for people who, if you weren't really interested in Batman, because it just has a typical generic backstory of, rich guy comes from noble family who was murdered and now he's an orphan and, he's going out to try and right the wrongs, so that others don't go through it. This story kind of just like threw out that narrative in the sense that as the story went along, you come to find out that, Batman, Bruce Wayne's parents weren't exactly clean, upstanding citizens. They were more like the typical rich aristocrat that you tend to hear about, which they're shady. They'll use their money and their influence to get certain things done. And if they don't, then they'll turn to certain shady characters to get things done and then hold their hands up as if, oh, I didn't know he was going to do that. I thought he was just going to just have a quiet word with them and said, please don't do this, sir. You're going to ruin their lives. When really and truly, they know exactly what they're signing up for. They just don't want to admit it to themselves because they don't want to seem like they got clean hands. And I thought that was really well done, the way actually portrayed that. Even though Bruce Wayne per se is innocent in the sense that he was a child, so obviously he's got no input in what his parents done, but he comes from a tainted background where his family is not exactly what the media.
His money still comes from his tainted parents.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying he's not really guilty of that because you can't help what you're born into.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's not guilty of it, but he still has to take responsibility because he lives.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He lives a privileged life because of the bad stuff his parents done.
100%. And I think in this one, from what we saw, they've done it so well in the fact that all the variations of Bruce Wayne has always been like, you know what? When you're Bruce Wayne, you have to be this flamboyant billionaire, you go out, have fun, pretend to be normal in the public so that it doesn't draw attention away from who you are when you're being Batman. But in this one, he has no interest in any of that shenanigans. He doesn't want to entertain anyone. He doesn't care if the family business goes under. He cares nothing about that. All he cares about is bringing the unjust to justice and making a difference. That's all
he
he
doesn't,
cares
he doesn't care about that.
about. Huh?
He doesn't care about that.
About what?
Bringing the unjust to justice.
So what does he care about then?
He cares about revenge.
Yeah, but didn't he say some things like, I want to make a difference?
At the end, he does.
Yeah, okay, yeah, true, yeah.
At the beginning, this is a key narrative in the movie. Let me just read this quickly, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was looking.
You have to have faith with casting. Heath Ledger, Ben Affleck, not Daredevil Affleck, Christian Bale, Robert Pattinson have all proved people wrong, 100%. I think casting agents are getting better now if they're casting. The movie Batman starts off, and you first see the Batman. One of the first times you see him is when he beats up those gangsters who are picking on that guy on the subway.
Yeah.
On a rob him or something. Now he comes down as vengeance. Now, if you notice, all he does is he beats up those gangsters. He never once checks on that guy to see if he's okay. His intention is not to bring about justice. All he wants is vengeance. And this is why vengeance is a bad thing. This is why I keep on having to explain this here. Vengeance is a bad thing because all it does is it drives that circle of hate. Now, to avenge somebody is different. To avenge somebody or to avenge a situation is to bring about justice for that situation.
Yeah.
So that's why the Avengers are called the Avengers, not the Revengers. Because the Avengers aren't about the violence. They're not about necessarily just beating people up for the sake of beating people up. They're about trying to do the right thing in the situation they're in.
That's such a good take on that. Literally, that's such a great dissection of the words.
So what happened in this movie is that you slowly see Batman realizing number one, his parents weren't as nice as he thought they were. So they actually were part of the problem. A lot of the issues in Gotham City actually arise from people operating at the highest levels of government, policing, the media, whatnot. It's a bit like The Wire, actually. So what he realizes is essentially him beating up all these low-level criminals, though it's maybe cathartic for him on an individual basis, he's not actually doing anything.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not. He's not penetrating the heart of what's really going on because they can always go and hire more, thugs,
goons, and and until you tackle some stuff like poverty and social inequality, you're always going to have people who unfortunately fall under the radar and unfortunately take up those lifestyles. Unfortunately, and I think he saw that as well, where like with those gangsters, they had that one kid who they were trying to like initiate, and they asked him to like punch the guy.
Yeah.
And that's what that scene was trying to tell a story that, look, these kids are bang out of order, and they probably deserve to have the book thrown at them in a court of law. But these kids are still kids, and they came from somewhere which probably wasn't that great to begin with. So surely you're better off treating that part of the illness, like the root of the illness, as opposed to just going for the symptoms, which Batman is doing in the first scene. And then what you see by the end is he's had this transformation and he starts to realize, oh my God, there is so much wrong in the world. And by me just caring about my own little personal, like, revenge desires isn't helping anybody.
In terms of the bigger picture of what you could.
If I want to make a difference to the city, because I've got no doubt he does love Gotham City. If I want to start making a difference, then I've got to start tackling the big issues.
100%. I mean, it was a beautiful script. It was well thought out, which it's not something that you always say when it comes to DC and their actual live action movies. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to their animated movies
and their comics are amazing as well. But
yeah, their animated movies are absolutely amazing. I mean, like the Justice League Flash Paradox is one great movie, animated movie. All those Justice League animated movies, they were, again, great. Those Batman animated movies, Death of the Joker, all of that was great. But when it comes to their films, you look at the Justice Leagues, they've never lived up to the hype compared to like the MCU, Avengers, those kind of films, or the MCU films in general. Their stories have always been lacking, but it seems like with this one, they really took the time to actually say, you know what, we're really gonna put the effort in and make a good point with this one. And they actually did that. And I thought everything was absolutely spot on, from the casting. Robert Pattinson was absolutely amazing as Bruce Wayne and Batman.
yeah,
And it shows his characteristics based on what he's actually going through. That he's not he wasn't able to transition from Batman to be Bruce Wayne, happy-go-lucky out in the room. No, it's like you said, because he's literally about revenge. He's quite bitter, and it comes across in every aspect of how he moves, how he operates, how he behaves. Even with Alfred, who's literally like the only family he has left. He's a jackass to Alfred. It's not until when he almost lost him, which he realized, what, this comes from pain. And again, it goes back to what you're saying with social economics and how, the system is set up for people to fail, even in that which is kind of showing you. Until you actually address that factor, literally, the cycle won't actually break.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then he realized that, you know what, I almost lost, based on the actions of my parents and my privilege, almost lost someone innocent to someone else's vengeance. And I think that's probably when you realize that, like you said, that, vengeance, isn't really the best thing.
No, I'm glad after nearly 100 of these podcasts, you've finally realised that. It's taken the Batman movie to make you see that. Hope you go away now and you rewatch all of the Falcon and Winter Soldier podcasts we done, so you can see how wrong you were.
Well, I think, like I said, I'll stick to it. Maybe I'll some of these guys.
Don't be wrong and strong.
No, it's not wrong and strong. I'm saying maybe going forward, some of these guys, what they need to do is learn to be an avenger instead of a revenger.
We're seeing you now slowly becoming that better human being, which we you're letting go of immature kind of thoughts about revenge being a good thing and so forth and so forth. And maybe
not revenge. I'm saying
you might start behaving.
I like the term that you use, which is, it's better to avenge as opposed to go for revenge, because when you're revenging, you're not thinking clearly. You don't care who gets caught in the crossfire, because again,
it's important distinction. And whenever you've been wronged, you've got to ask yourself, am I avenging or am I revenging?
Yeah, because when he was literally looking for revenge, he was using, like, again, which was great casting, like, Zoe Kravitz, who was playing Selena, aka Catwoman. Great casting. Like, he was basically using her, putting her at risk, and he was like, yeah, I got you, you're fine. But really and truly, he didn't. He wouldn't have cared if whatever happened to her. He just wanted to get the information that he wanted, and that was it. And
another important thing about Catwoman was her friendship with, or her relationship with, the other girl who ends up being found in a body bag, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was really important, because what Catwoman's character does there is, that girl, she would have just been another statistic, just lost.
But that you wouldn't know about. Yeah.
Because we see Catwoman's genuine love and affection for this character, it humanizes her, and it reminds us that, all these people are victims, and they all should be remembered, and they all deserve avenging.
It's true, and it just shows that, again, in a way, people are products of their environment. So it seems like a lot of them were actually doing and behaving how they were behaving, just for the simple fact that that's just the only way to survive, because there's no other way. It's
They
like
had no choice. They had no one.
yeah, it's like the young
for them in this.
like the young kid
city.
They were trying to force to, okay, Sony's back again.
Yes.
The young kid who was literally they were trying to force into the gang initiation. You could clearly see he didn't want to do it, but he knew if he didn't do it, if he wasn't part of the pack, he was going to be one of the victims. So lucky by Batman turning up there, that literally saved him. And I think when he saw what happened to them, it was basically like one of those scared straight, where he basically saw what would happen if you decide to go down that path, that there's actually people out there.
That's the narrative point they was heading in that scene.
No, I'm saying, well, for him, that's what happened, because he was at that crossroad where if he probably had attacked the man, that would have probably been him lost to that side of the world now, where he's just going to be on that side of the fence. But he literally got interrupted just before he took that step across that line. So in a way, he still kind of kept his innocence in that sense, because he didn't do it.
Maybe, or maybe he'll just punch the next person.
Well, no, because remember, he kind of saved Batman he thought he saved Batman when they had the gun. Right after that, when he literally like shouted like, don't, and it made Batman move. So he actually,
They're not giving up, are they?
It's Sony. I'm telling you for a fact. The minute we talk smack about them, that the movie was absolutely horrible, we start getting all these bots, which has never come up in over a year. We've been doing these shows.
It's come up during the Spider-Man stream, but it was one and blocked it, and it never came back.
Yeah. Now tonight we talk smack about Sony for 38 minutes, and they're just out here, just like letting you know.
This is relentless. Or maybe somebody is genuinely waiting for you without clothing. Maybe.
Yeah, for £6.50. Hey,
that's how cheap Davian is, people.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. I'm saying anything's possible.
Indeed. Right. So yeah, Batman's great. I really hope DC continue with this Robert Pattinson Batman story. It's great.
Yeah.
All for it. It's actually tackling social issues the way Batman should be, instead of Batman being a right-wing conservative's wet dream and just beating up low-level criminals. This is exactly what Batman should
while still creating great opportunities for hedge funders.
Exactly. It's like he may as well just have Tory boy written on a t-shirt under his Batman uniform.
But again, we also have to talk about, as we're talking about Batman,
I bet he's part of the GOP, Bruce Wayne.
A good friend with Ted Cruz.
Yeah, all Ted Cruz and all them lot, and he probably hangs out at the Bush mansion and stuff.
Yeah, but going back to what we were talking about with casting and the script, in this it showed great casting and the script was great, because the guy who plays the Riddler, absolutely amazing. He just oozes a psycho. He just oozes a psycho, literally. And what made it so great is the fact that he's so dangerous because he's just so uninterested, I should say, sorry. Like, because to like the bad guys, like the Falcone and all those, Penguin, they see someone like that, they wouldn't even look at him twice, because he just looks like, he fixes computers, he doesn't do anything. And literally he was like the most dangerous person in Gotham City. He literally brought the entire city down just by using his brain. Like he said, he's like, I haven't got the strength, but you've got that, I've got this. and he was just absolutely amazing how great he was thinking. And then, of course, towards the end, we got a glimpse. We don't know who it is, but in terms of who will be playing him, but we got a glimpse of the Joker. I wasn't sure at first if it was the Joker. I actually thought, oh, is it Two-Face? But, I was like, yep, no, it's the Joker. So again, we now see who the players are going forward in the next movie. So it'll be interesting to see when they do it. I mean, hopefully, it would be interesting to actually, find out how long they'd been working on this one before they actually put it into production. And, because if it took them a while, hopefully they'll use the same process again to make the second one, because it was absolutely great. So,
the more I think about it, this might be the best Batman movie they've ever done.
That's what I was saying. I said it to you after I watched it. I said, that's one of the best movies I've seen. Like, period. Like, the story, everything, it was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So bravo for that.
2 thumbs up for that one. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it. It's funny, we spoke about it, but we didn't even really give that much away from it. So anyone who's watching can actually, if you haven't seen it, you can actually go out and watch it. If you want to see Morbius, go ahead, or probably just wait for it to come out on DVD.
Download it on LimeWire or whatever the equivalent is that you young people use nowadays.
No, Duke, we can't say that here. We're not here to promote illegal activities. Use the correct platforms to get these films, people. Law-abidingness. Lawlessness does not count.
And they're called torrents.
Lawlessness does not count. Listen to Davey LP.
Listen, yeah, Sony only got themselves to blame. Anyway.
I don't want no more bots popping up here. So Sony, I've got no problem with you. I'm just saying, a little constructive criticism we gave you tonight. Going forward.
You're such a little coward. Such a little
work on it. Do you want every stream will be there trying to deal with all these bots? And I'm not going to be stripping.
Fair, I think we've dealt with them. It wasn't too hard.
And I'm not going to be stripping you unless I get that £4.50. So
nobody wants you to strip.
Well, why are they telling us on the screen?
No, they're saying there's. I'll explain it later. It's fine.
Oh, I thought they wanted me to. Oh,
no.
See, I was about to, but obviously I was like, no. You put me in one timeout already. I didn't want another one, so I kept it on. Go.
Just reminding you.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's why. So I'm glad I kept my composure and didn't do what I thought they were saying. But yeah, so overall, it was a great night of film watching in terms of the whole Batman. I mean, not so much with the Morbius. I watched it, but I would say it was something I would go back and watch again. But it's open to interpretation. Just like I wasn't really that much big of a fan of the Eternals movie, but so was a lot of people.
Come off it.
No, I'm just saying in the fact that it's gonna be to who each their own who has that if it's their cup of tea. So there might be some people who might watch this and think that Morbius was absolutely amazing.
I don't think anybody's thinking that. Right, I'm going to call it a day. We're going for an hour.
Yeah, you're gonna go and watch Morbius again now.
Yep, exactly. Well, yeah, because I really hate myself. Right. Well, I guess, are you free on Wednesday to stream?
Yes, because I am a early shift.
Cool.
So,
right.
Yeah, so
we'll be online again on Wednesday night, probably 9 p.m. again, or 8 p.m. 9 p.m.
Yeah, and we'll definitely, I said it before, but yes, definitely, I'll get some of that done tomorrow and over the next few days. Some music reaction. Okay. There have been some comments, we haven't. And we have to, at some point next week, folks, we're going to be doing a stream just to
No, we're not.
Celebrate our 1 year. Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, what are we going to talk about?
1 year.
Yeah,
Our favorite Bayer programs, our favorite Bayer moments.
If you want to do a stream by yourself, that's fine.
We're going to do it. Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
The whip. I'm cracking the whip.
You have a whip to crack when I could fire you at any second.
Oh yeah, that's true. He's right then. We're not doing anything, folks. I want to keep my job. Yeah.
I'm not paying you.
Yes. There we go. Been demoted, pay less, all sorts. But yes, it's been fun, folks. And yes, we will be back on Wednesday for Moon Knight.